Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to have a look at the chapter focus for the Black Templars. Now, there's been a bunch of, frankly, fairly contradictory rumours and leaks and all sorts of stuff as to exactly what they're going to get in the upcoming Psychic Awakening Book 2, Faith and Fury, and that's the reason I haven't actually really made any videos about the actual crunch of what they're getting, because no one really seems to know, and a lot of it was just pure conjecture by the look of things. But now we have some actual stuff to go on. So, we're going to take a look, see what they get, see if it's any good at the very least. Is it appropriate? Is it nice and fluffy? And could it actually be quite nice? We'll take a look. So, if you are not sure who the Black Templars are, then you are a disgrace and need to get out. That's harsh, that's not true. Successor chapter of the Imperial Fists, the best version of what the Imperial Fists could possibly have become. They were led by Sigismund, the Emperor's champion, whose swordsmanship and remorseless death-dealing were legendary. Yes, first of all, better colour scheme, by far. Iconography, far superior as well. And headed by, I think it's fair to say, someone who really liked chopping shit up. Many reasons there are for Black Templars being literally better than the Imperial Fists, but those are just a few of them. Anyway, on the battlefield, what do we have? Well, the chapter tactic is not changed. It's the same as it is in the current Codex Space Marines, which is Righteous Zeal. So when a charge roll is made for a unit with this tactic, you can reroll any or all of the dice. And when a model with this tactic would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6. On a 5+, that wound is not lost. So no changes there, but there is other stuff. There is other things going on. So first up, we have the Knights of Sigismund, which is available to armies comprised entirely of Black Templars, and I have glanced over these before recording. I'm not sure. So, Knights of Sigismund. Skilled with both blade and bolter in equal measure, the warriors of the Black Templars are a creed unto themselves, a brethren of unquestioning loyalty, still can't talk though, that exist to bring the Emperor's retribution to every heretic and unbeliever within the Imperium and beyond. Whilst the assault doctrine is active, when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a Black Templars model with this ability against a unit that is not a vehicle, in a turn in which that model made a charge move or performed a heroic intervention, an unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically scores a hit and successfully wounds the target. So you do not make a wound roll. Essentially, you get that unmodified hit roll of 6 and you are good to go. The wound has been dealt. So it kind of feels like waiting until turn 3 is a little bit, I'm not going to say a bit of an ask. I mean, a lot of the games that I've played or play currently, there's a hell of a lot of casualties by turn 2, but then the armies that I've been going up against and the army that I use in the form of the stupid Dreadnought at the moment, they're all very gun heavy. There's a fair amount of high-powered, like, armour-piercing nonsense going on, so there's stuff exploding left, right and centre. To me, that feels a bit long to wait, but then again, I'm not playing with like a typical, like a standard force, I think you could say, and all my games are narrative fun games. There's not really anything particularly kind of competitive about the composition of units, so from my point of view, that feels a little long to wait, but then again, I'm using a stupid army, so that may well account for some, or indeed all of that particular perspective. The other thing is, it doesn't affect vehicles, which I don't know why, but that doesn't quite feel good to me. I feel like it should just apply to pretty much everything, but then again, will that be a bit too strong, maybe? I think the main issue that I've got with it, more than anything, is it's when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by Black Templars. Black Templars are a close combat kind of heavy army. It's part of the imagery for them. They have the sword brethren, and you know, it's all about like the crusading knight aesthetic. Primaris is pretty much distinctly lacking in full-on close combat options. So that feels weird. It's like, yes, you are rewarded for getting in there, getting in melee, but most of the new range that we have for Space Marines does not support that. So, yeah, I mean, good if you're still rocking old Marines, and if you've got an entire army of Black Templars that are, kitted out for that, then fine. But it feels a little contrary to all of the things that Games Workshop has put their effort into when it comes to the more recent Space Marine releases. So yeah, that's Knights of Sigismund. So we also have there'll be new data sheets for this lot, obviously, which we already knew about. We also have a couple of warlord traits. We have one being shown off here, but there are going to be more. So the one shown off here is Epitome of Piety. So intense is the warlord's devotion to the Gaia Emperor that they are able to throw off the malign influence of the warp. This warlord can attempt to resist one psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase in the same manner as a psyker by taking a Deny the Witch test. When a Deny the Witch test is taken for this warlord, add 1 to the total. I do like this. It's a solution to the fact that Black Templars rightfully hate psykers. They don't want anything to do with psykers. They're not having psykers. Get your psykers out of here. Still being able to deny the witch without them. Good. I like that. I also just like the fact that it's a case of so devoted and so completely filled with belief is the warlord that he can just go, no, I refuse you to be able to cast that psychic power you're trying to cast. I have no psychic ability of my own. I cannot do this. I have no actual capability of this myself. But just by how pissed off I am, you need to shut that shit down and not do it near me. I like that. That's quality. So, there's also, instead of bespoke psychic disciplines, because they don't have any psychers, there are 6 litanies of devotion. So we have litanies of the devout, not litanies of devotion. We have fires of devotion. The chaplain's words speak to the very souls of his battle brothers, inflaming them with ardour, and their blade arms with divine strength. Excellent use of the word ardour there. Approve of that. If this litany is inspiring, select one for any Black Templars unit within 6 inches of this model. If that unit makes a charge move or performs a heroic intervention, add 1 to the attack's characteristic models in that unit until the end of the turn. So again, we're stacking up on the melee side of things, which, pretty damn Black Templars, really. The Black Templars have always had an affinity for the Land Raider Crusader. Like the fact that that's mentioned, I love the Land Raider Crusader. It's so good. It's so fun. I love it. So they also have a stratagem in the form of shock and awe, which revolves around the Crusader. Like it. So the Black Templars strike with aggressive and overwhelming force, shattering their foes' will to fight. 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the charge phase. Select 1 Black Templars infantry unit from your army that disembarked from a Land Raider Crusader this turn. Until the end of that turn, enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at the selected unit, and when resolving an attack made against that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. I do quite like that. You roll up in your Crusader, you churn your boys out, they can't get hit with Overwatch, they charge in and start just cutting people down. Again, like that, very Black Templars. I like the highlight of the Crusader in particular. Again, it's not a Primaris thing, it's just a classic Space Marine thing. I'd love to see a proper full-on, just like, horde of Land Raiders. That'll look quality. Oh no, that's giving me ideas now. Let's move on. Let's move on before I get into the dangerous realm of working out how to cram as many Crusaders into one army list as possible. So, since the days of Sigismund, the Black Templars have favoured the sword as their melee weapon of choice, obviously, and they've got a bunch of them. Paraphrase it a little bit there. If you want to prove your marshal's mastery of the blade on the battlefield, arm him with the Sword of Judgment Chapter Relic, and he'll carve through anything in his path with ease. So, there is the Sword of Judgment. The characteristic sigil of the Emperor's Aquila adorns the crossguard of this revered blade, its keen edge having served many a Black Templar well over the millennia. Model with a power sword or 1 mastercrafted power sword only, replaces the power sword or mastercrafted power sword and has the following profile. So, range is melee, obviously, as is the type. Strength +1, AP -3, damage 3. That's quite a tasty sword. I do like that. That's fun. I like the sword. I'm a little bit disappointed looking through this because some of it is quite nice. Some of it is, it all feels flavourful. It all feels appropriate for the Black Templars. I do like the sword. I really like the stratagem, genuinely. Giving the Land Raider a bit of extra fun, or at least, the unit within the Land Raider, some extra fun and more chance to get in unscathed. Not having to face Overwatch. I do like that, but then there's things like that, like the Knights of Sigismund. I don't know. I'm just not feeling that. It does not feel like just doesn't feel like a fun doctrine to me. I don't know whether it's because you got to wait until you're in the assault doctrine. I don't know if it's because it doesn't apply to vehicles. I don't know whether it's just because the overall lack of melee options that you get from Primaris anyway. And again, if the Land Raider Crusade is being highlighted, does it even matter? You know, you can't stick Primaris in that anyway. You might want to stick some Terminators in there. Sword Brethren Squad probably make more sense, wouldn't it? But I don't know, that feels a little bit lackluster, I guess, and the still lack of model support is making it feel a little bit more lackluster, which is a shame because, I mean, depending on what else we see, I don't think it's all terrible. I don't think it's like completely a waste of time. So, yeah. Also, I will say there's a distinct lack. If you have a look at the images in this article, I don't reckon they've got a Primaris Black Templars army in the studio at all, you know. I don't think there is one, is there? That's all classic Marines, which is, you know, fine. I'm not complaining about that, but again, it just feels a bit weird. It just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the love is there. You know? That's the only way to put it. That's the only way I can think to put it. It's not bad. There's stuff in here that I really like, but just as a whole, it just doesn't quite feel there for some reason. Now, of course, this is just a preview, so we still need to actually see what is in the book before making that kind of judgment, which I will hold off on that feeling until we have the full details. But yeah, I'm hoping for, I don't know, something that's properly exciting out of it, I guess. So yeah, that's the preview for the Black Templar stuff in Faith and Fury, which is part 2 of Psychic Awakening. Let me know what you think of all of that in the comments down below. As a Black Templars player, are you thinking it's going in the right direction? Are you not happy so far? Is there anything you're specifically hoping to see? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's the affiliate link in the description for Element Games, where, funnily enough, you can buy a bunch of Black Templar stuff if you'd like. Good way to support the channel, because you were going to buy all that stuff anyway. You save some money, I get something for sending you that way, and 10% of anything that goes through the link goes to charity end of the month. So, yeah, you can do that if you like. I will leave it completely up to you. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.